from deep in the dark hollows of southeastern Kentucky, where the moonshine is strong, the stories are strange, and your neighbor is probably your cousin. This is Appalachia, not so quiet. Hey everybody, welcome back. This is Appalachia Not So Quiet. I am Hillbilly Phantom, and as always, I'm joined by my wife.
Appalachian Shade.
That's right, the lovely and talented Appalachian Shade. So I want to start off, first of all, I want to apologize to everybody. We said on their last episode that we were going to have an episode Friday, and that was the plan, but, you know,
Doggy emergency.
yeah, had to take the pup dog to the vet, but he's okay. Everything's good. He's laying over here napping right beside of us. So
We're waiting on some test results to come back.
yeah, but I think he's going to be fine. He went through some medication, and yeah, now he's doing better. So good boy. All right, so I also want to touch on some deaths that happened. Me being an '80s kid and all. Like I said, I'm a Zennial, kind of in between. So they said Gen X got hit hard this week. And yeah, that included me because all three of these guys were a big part of my childhood for various reasons. We watched The Cosby Show about every night. Theo Huxtable, welcome Jamal Warner. He passed away. And then we lost probably the greatest musical legend, at least that was still living.
Wait.
What?
We got Willie and Nell and
Okay,
Don
all
and
right.
Reba
All right. I know there's plenty of legends.
and Randy Travis.
I know there's plenty of legends, okay? But Ozzy Osbourne,
Yeah, like rock, heavy metal.
him and three other dudes basically invented 90% of what is considered heavy metal today. So, I mean, that's what they call him, the grandfather of heavy metal. I'm not sure who the father of heavy. I think it might be Ronnie James Dio. He's probably right up there. But then we also lost
Hulk Hogan.
a great American hero, Hulk Hogan. Well, I don't know if he's a hero necessarily, but he was definitely a hero to kids, especially in the 80s. Man,
Wow.
Hulkamania was.
My granny watched him religiously. And
Oh,
when I was
yeah.
a child, like she would get done with her soaps and then she'd go cook dinner and she'd be back in there and be like, okay, girls, I'm getting my TV. I got to watch my wrestlers. I got to watch Hulk Hogan now. So I watched every episode with her.
Yeah, my granny and my uncle and cousins, they all loved wrestling and especially Hulk Hogan. And so through them, I was kind of introduced to wrestling. I didn't realize there was, wrestling was really a thing because we just had 3 channels back home, but they had more channels. They got to watch wrestling. So whenever I was at their house, I watched wrestling. Of course, Hulk became a favorite. Pretty soon we got more cable channels and we had wrestling and man, all the way up into probably about the mid 90s, I'd say I was big into wrestling. Like,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, I liked a lot of those guys.
NWO.
Oh yeah. Oh, that started, man, good times. But yeah, those were great childhood memories that have sadly passed away this past week. So, rest in peace to all 3 of those. They were legends.
Yeah.
They really were.
That's when we had cool celebrities.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool celebrities. I don't even know the celebrities today. Like they announced somebody to play a role in a movie and I'm like, who? So we decided to do something really special though this Monday. We didn't get to do Friday. And my lovely Shade has said before that she wants to do like ghosts and that type of thing on Mondays. We were discussing on exactly what topic we were going to cover. And once again, she comes up with a great idea. Hey, let's do cryptids. I love cryptids. I'm a big Bigfoot guy. Like,
Wood booger.
yeah. In our parts, I guess some of the old people, they called them wood boogers. I didn't really even know that until today. when you inform me.
The more you know.
Yeah, the more you know. Yeah, so wood boogers, like I've heard, like from several people, I've heard personal accounts of seeing Bigfoot running around in Knott County. Now, Bigfoot is probably the most famous cryptid.
Yeah.
Uh,
He's
he's
the most followed all over the nation.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, he's the biggest. Loch Ness is probably number two, but Bigfoot is definitely the biggest one. Because, I mean, this has been going since the Indians, like when the English settlers came over here and they heard the stories from the Indians, the ones they weren't fighting with, I guess, the ones that they tried to befriend, but they would tell the settlers stories about the Sasquatch. So this was already kind of a legend among the Indians, among the native people here in America. And it's only grown since then. I think it was back in the days when they used to log all that really big old timber up in Oregon. I think that's when it kind of really hit the modern era because that's when we saw a footprint, and I think they took a cast of it. It seems like it was the 1930s, maybe his 30s, and yeah, some lumberjack discovered it. Big old giant footprint, measured like 18 inches, 24 inches, something like that. It was huge.
I have a friend with a foot that big.
Is that right?
His mom swore when he was growing up that she was just going to buy him a shoebox. I don't think it's 18, but it's a pretty big feat as a young child. And his mom's like, I'm going to buy you some shoeboxes. But now they've advanced, I guess, shoe sizes. Bigfoot probably could get some shoes.
Probably could. I mean, Bigfoot's probably around the size of Shaquille O'Neal, and they make shoes for him.
Yeah.
So yeah, we could put some shoes on Bigfoot now. But yeah, I've always been a fan of the Bigfoot stories. I remember when I was little and I saw the Zapruder film, which is the famous Bigfoot film of the Bigfoot casually walking on the other side of the river,
Mm-hmm.
and this dude's filming it, just casually walking away, and it keeps looking back at him. But I think that one eventually got dismissed. I think it was Zapruder's wife claimed before she died that she was actually in a gorilla outfit and she was the one in the video.
So, like a 4-foot Bigfoot.
No, I don't know if she was supposedly wearing stilts or what, or is it just the perspective they used? I don't know. But yes, for maybe she used stilts. I don't know. She just said that they had a gorilla outfit and it was her and Zapruder's friend. It was their idea to put on the suit, and then yeah. So I don't know. It's hard to tell because maybe she was just making that up. Maybe it really was her. You know, people have analyzed that film
I'm
up
not,
and down,
I
every
mean,
which way possible.
there probably is people out there and fakes too.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's people out there just trying to,
Get their name on.
well, I guess just trying to continue the legend or whatever. Wouldn't it be funny if we somebody walked back in the woods and saw a big footprint? Yeah, let's build a wooden Bigfoot, you know, print thing and just go up there and stamp a big print in the mud. It's possible people done that.
Yeah.
But now there's some, I've seen a lot of evidence, you know, they've taken casts of these and some of them you can see the arch of the foot. Like it's beyond what somebody would go through to fake it, you would think. But it's still entirely possible that somebody faked it. That's always a possibility. You can't say that it's not a possibility. But they have a lot of evidence, man. There was an entire TV show. What was the show?
I think it was Expedition Bigfoot.
Yeah.
The Discovery Channel.
Yeah, Expedition Bigfoot. Yeah, they came to Harlan County and did a big research thing there. And they brought a guy that had like bloodhounds.
Yeah.
That
he's a
he's
a Knott County.
Yeah, he's from Knott County, and they actually help with search and rescue stuff all the time, and recovering body or finding bodies because he's got some that are trained to sniff out dead bodies, and then some that are trained to like sniff an item that belonged to somebody and see if it can find that scent, things like that. But he came just to see if his dog could track down because I think they had what did they have hair or something that they thought belonged to Bigfoot, maybe that had been recovered in the area. I can't remember exactly what it was, but there was something that they put the dog on the trail of Bigfoot and it shot up the hill and took them on a big long journey. And they ended up somewhere along the hill and up above them was like a rocky outcropping kind of thing. They thought it was like a cave, looked like a cave from where they were at. And the dog stopped and was just staring at that cave and whining. And it kind of run around in circles, like looking.
Yeah, refusing to go.
Yeah, not wanting to go up there.
Let's get out of here.
Yeah, and that guy's like, man, I've never seen him act like this. I don't know what's going on. Yeah, he don't want to go up there for some reason. But that dog absolutely refused to go up there. And I thought that was just like so fascinating. Like, why this dog that is trained to find stuff, and it's like, okay, I've got the scent. I'm following it. Here it is. Looks like it goes to the I'm not going in there. I mean,
find another dog.
Right. He's just like, nope, not going. And I think they finally did go up there and they looked around in the cave, or it wasn't really a cave. It just kind of went into the hillside just a little bit. They looked around, they didn't see anything useful, I don't think. But I've heard many reports of Bigfoot.
Yeah, wood boogers. There's different species. Some have horns and long tongues, and some are half man and half gorilla or ape, or I mean, there's just different.
Well, I mean, Bigfoot is kind of considered a giant ape.
He's a yeti, and different areas have seen different shapes and sizes.
It is
and
almost
colors.
Yeah, it is. It seems to vary by region. I learned that pretty quick when I started looking into Bigfoot sightings and stuff many years ago. I read reports of Bigfoot sightings in Florida.
I say that in Florida they have orange eyes.
I was like, Florida? I thought that they just stuck to the Rocky Mountains. But it turns out there's this thing in Florida called a skunk ape, and they think that that's like Bigfoot. It's just a marsh swamp version of Bigfoot. So maybe there's various kinds.
Right, different.
Which leads you into, are these other large free cryptids? Some people say that there's big hairy cryptids that have the faces of dogs. There's some that have the faces of apes, and some have the faces of men. I mean,
or bear.
Could it be that they're all related? Maybe Bigfoot's part of a bigger group than just
maybe they're
Sasquatch,
like different race.
Different races, kind of like humans have different races. There's just different kinds of Bigfoot. It's possible because I mean, there's a lot of information on Bigfoot, like out in the western part of the country, because that seems to be where it was most prevalent. There was a lot of sightings around the Rocky Mountains and stuff, but nobody really paid attention to these old stories of wood boogers and things of that nature running around in the hills of Appalachia. Yeah. Maybe that was possibly Bigfoot.
Some of his kinfolk.
Or some of his kinfolk. The hillbilly Sasquatch. I'm the hillbilly phantom, and I'm going to have a guest named Hillbilly Sasquatch. That's a good one. But Bigfoot is probably not even one of the top cryptids of Appalachia. There's a lot of them.
Oh, yeah.
A lot. And Shade has actually done a lot of homework on this. She's got plenty of cryptids to look at. I've done very little research because I'm lazy.
So, let's start out with 3 that have since been considered cryptid but are now proven to exist.
Right. Yeah, there's been several species like we were like, they don't exist. We got these crazy natives talking about some weird creature that lives out in the forest, and then one day they finally walk out there and there it is.
Yeah. So that's Komodo dragon.
Yeah, 1910. Nobody believed it existed until 1910. Somebody finally went out there and went, oh crap, there's Komodo dragons everywhere.
The okapi.
Okapi, yeah.
It's like a zebra, giraffe.
Yeah.
Bongo, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it is a very strange looking creature, so I can see why it had kind of a mythical status for a while until like 1901, I think it was. They finally, oh yeah, hey, this actually exists.
And the most recent, the giant squid.
The giant squid, absolutely. Yeah, that wasn't too long ago. Japanese people in a boat with a submersible and a camera dove way, way down and caught the first actual clear images of a giant squid. That was cool. Yeah, I remember when that happened. It was awesome. I mean, they had, I think they had some evidence of giant squids before that.
But not proof. Just people had said I was out there. I seen it.
They didn't have a full-blown dead body. Yeah. And nobody had actually photographed one or anything until that Japanese vessel did.
That was 2002, 2003.
somewhere in there.
Yeah, like they're real.
Yeah, it's like, well, we have to. I guess we have to.
Mark this one off.
Yeah, we have to add that one to the books now. We actually found the giant squid. And that's one of those things. Like for 1,000 years, there'd been
Yeah, so
stories of krakens and stuff. Eating ships. These gigantic octopus squid things. Everybody thought they were crazy. Well, not everybody. I mean, a lot of the sailors, they believed in that stuff. But most of the people who weren't out there witnessing this stuff, they were just like, sailors. Crazy ideas, crazy krakens. But we don't know what's down there, man. The ocean is
it's kind of like the Appalachian Mountains. There's several acres that haven't been discovered yet. No one knows what's out there.
but yeah, I'm sure there's plenty of places in Appalachia that nobody has tread yet.
Not
There's
been
deep,
afoot.
dark, deep corners of the Appalachian Mountains that have yet to have humans touch them, or at least have humans touch them for a very long time. So yeah, those darker places that just like the ocean, those deep, dark places you can't really see. That's where you find things like cryptids.
Or it's not possible for mankind to get there. And there's some mountainsides that
Well, I mean,
it's
I'm
hard to
sure there's way.
scale.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm sure people can get to it.
It would take a while.
Yeah. There's determined people out there, they would get to it. But that still doesn't change the fact that there's places people haven't been, or at least haven't been in a very, very long. But now we move on to a cryptid that is kind of strange.
For real.
It's very, yeah. I'd never heard about this one, and we did a bunch of research into it, and it just keeps getting stranger. So this is the tale of
Veggie Man.
Veggie Man.
Though I want to call him Groot because the drawing that they have, he looks like Groot.
Groot. I am Groot.
Yeah, he looks like Groot. So, anyways,
I'll probably have to pay Disney for saying that.
his description.
So the Veggie Man is described as a tall, thin, plant-like humanoid
Groot.
with yellow eyes, pointed ears, and needle-tipped suction cup fingers. It is said to have a semi-human shape and can reach heights of over 7 feet. That is a big old plant.
Oh yeah,
Big old Veggie Man.
like I said, it's Groot.
Yeah, so there is a drawing that you came across that it was very Groot looking, but it was more leaves and things than it was bark
Yeah,
like Groot is.
still a
But
little bit of the same shape.
yeah,
But anyway,
but that's weird. So the sightings.
so yeah, this Jay Frederick guy was hunting one day or in the evening, and he came upon this creature, and he was, terrified at first, but it kind of scared him. I don't know, into just that he couldn't comprehend anything that was saying. It was kind of gargled at first. Then he was able to understand it. So he said it was kind of like telepathic communications, and it said, "You need not fear me. I wish to communicate. I come as a friend. We know of all of you. I come in peace. I wish medical assistance. I need your help." And after it said that, it kind of lunged toward him and wrapped him up and hugged him and put the little pokers and suction cups on him and drew blood from him, and then quickly released him and took off running up the hill. And he said he kind of came to and he could hear like a humming of maybe a UFO. It was getting in its ship and leaving.
So this is more of an alien type of thing because obviously the guy who this eyewitness that claims to have seen this, he obviously assumes it was an alien because he says that he hears this humming on the other side of the hill and he assumes it's the spaceship. It's the Veggie Man ship taking off.
But there is no, any more details saying, if he had any lacerations or any puncture wounds or anything from this creature.
So no kind of
So,
medical report. Apparently, he didn't seek any kind of help. So maybe it wasn't that bad. So there's just no documentation of it. Maybe it was there, but then again, maybe there's no proof because there wasn't anything. There was no proof. So yeah, the Veggie Man. It was actually in a newsletter. Somebody told this guy's story. It was in a 1976 newsletter by Gray Barker, and it talked about the most notable encounter of the Veggie Man, 1968. And yeah, the hunter, Jennings Frederick, in Fairmont, West Virginia, is where this happened. And he was, I mean, I guess he was kind of attacked because he did,
He didn't know. I
It
mean,
it right,
it
it
just
told him
happened so quick.
telepathically, "I don't mean you any harm, but I need your help," and then it just grabs him. I mean, yeah, that would
Before he
be
had time to really think, like, wait a minute,
yeah,
let's talk about
"I
this.
need to give you consent
Yeah.
to suck my blood."
What's wrong with you? First, I might
That's
have a
weird.
band aid for that.
Right, yeah.
So,
Let me call up the, government and see if they can help you. But, yeah, so I guess this is not really a cryptid, but it's very strange, like, I've never heard of any kind of alien encounter of a big, giant, vegetable-looking guy. So that's just I don't know. It's so crazy. And it communicated with telepathy or communicated telepathically. Such a strange story.
it's Guardian of the Galaxy. It's Groot.
It's great. I am Groot. But the Veggie Man, it's kind of become like a legend in the area, Fairmont, West Virginia. It's inspired all kinds of local folklore and people's artwork and music. There's even a children's book titled Curious Creatures, The Vegetable Man by author Michael Strayer. And just last year, they had the inaugural Veggie Man Day. They celebrate Veggie Man. So it's kind of like over there in Point Pleasant, West Virginia, same state.
They got a lot.
They have like, Mothman Day and all this. They celebrate this
They
whole
even have a
Mothman thing.
statue.
Yeah, they've got a statue. I've seen it. I've been right there. I took a picture of it. It's creepy. It is a creepy statue.
Now we have the Appalachian Wendigo.
The Appalachian Wendigo. Now I've heard of a Wendigo.
This is a giant skeleton creature with uh, hunger for human flesh.
Well, that's kind of what a Wendigo is.
Insatiable hunger for human flesh.
Yeah.
Says it's not just a beast, it's a spirit of grand isolation and transformation.
Okay. So this is kind of the Indian.
And it likes to mimic things.
Yeah. Well, traditional Wendigos that came from the Indians who lived up in like the Canadian territories. They talked about Wendigos and how he committed cannibalism. They ate human flesh. Then they were sent out into the woods away from the tribe. And out there in the woods, they would transform into a Wendigo that had an insatiable hunger for human flesh. And there was all kinds of reports of attacks and things like that. And I didn't realize that Appalachia had its very own Wendigo, but I guess Wendigos can be anywhere.
Right. Because they can mimic anything.
Yeah, Wendigos are supposed to be, at least the northern versions, they're skeletal looking, but they also have like hair. I think it's white hair around them or something. But they have very skeletal features, their hands and face and everything. Yeah, Wendigos are wild. And it's one of those cryptids that, once again, it's the Indians were talking about this long before any settlers came here. And they've been a big part of Appalachia for hundreds of years. Because all these stories came with our forefathers, but then they got here and there were even stranger stories that the Indians were telling them, like Wendigos and Sasquatch.
And Wampus cats.
Wampus cats. Now, Wampus cat, yeah, I've heard of a Wampus cat. I mean, that's a fairly common term that you hear.
It says they're huge like cat animals and they're 4 times bigger than any mountain lion and they weigh about 600 pounds.
Wow, a 600-pound cat, Wampus cat.
Thought you liked cats.
I do like cats, but one that could eat me. A Wampus
I
cat.
think your mom had a cat about that big. Wasn't lucky about that big.
Some of her cats did get pretty big. She had some diabetic cats.
But it says their smell is a mix of a skunk and a wet dog.
Ew.
Yeah, it's just the distinctive smell. You can smell them like are.
So that's like the skunk ape. You can smell it before you see it.
And they can shapeshift into women if they desire.
Yeah, because the legend has something to do with the fact that it's a woman that was.
Right. Yeah, it's tied to the Cherokee legends of a woman who was cursed for spying on sacred rituals.
She shouldn't have been observing those. I don't remember how the one that I read. I don't remember exactly how it was worded, but it said it was a vain woman or something like that.
I also read that they have 6 legs instead of 4.
6 legs, man. That thing could tear you apart. A big giant cat with 6 legs, 6 sets of claws. Oh man, But this is just another tie-in with, you know, the Indians having these stories and the people of Appalachia finding out that maybe some of these stories are true. So we have all these stories all around Kentucky, and you remember what Kentucky was back when the natives were here. It was a hunting ground. So all these different tribes of Indians used to come to Kentucky, and that's where they would hunt, and they would see all these weird things. So we had the Wampus Cat, and now we're moving on to something even stranger.
Magical little people. They're called the Yunwi Junsui.
Yunwi Zunzdi. Zunzdi.
Junsui.
Junsui. Okay, the Yunwi Zunzui. Okay,
I
this is
think I'm saying
definitely
it right. So they're magical little people. They're about a foot to 2 foot tall. They live underground or in rock cliffs, and they can be helpful if you are good to them, or they can be mischievous if you depends on how you treat them.
right. So this is one of those cryptids or creatures or mythical creatures, whatever you want to call it. This is one of those that you kind of have to appease. It's like they'll bring you good fortune and all kinds of good things if you're good to them. But if you're not, that's when you better watch out. And these guys, the Yunwi Junwi, I hope I'm saying it right. I know I'm
Yeah.
murdering that. Somebody of
All
Native
right.
American descent is going to call me up and be like, "You idiot." So the little people, but they were a big part of Cherokee mythology. There's all kinds of Cherokee stories about these little creatures with magical powers, but that's common everywhere, I mean, Ireland, come on. They had leprechauns, man. Come on. And then there's all kinds of stories out of
Fairies.
England stuff, fairies and elves. I mean, there's always these little creatures. So even the Indians had them. And it turns out that people in Appalachia also had experiences with these little people. They heard these stories from the natives, and the next thing you know, they're like, little people, these things are real. Or at least that's what they told others. This is folklore. This is legend. This is Appalachia. This is what Appalachia thrives on. And we move from the little people because a more modern version of what these little people that they were talking about could be are these other creatures that supposedly needed to be appeased.
The knocker gremlins, or some people call them Tommy knockers or just knockers. So they're like small elf-like creatures. We used to knock inside the mines, or I probably still do. I don't think the coal miners talk about it too much because they don't want to upset them, but they send out warnings of collapses, or maybe they lure the men to doom, depending on their mood that day. Sometimes miners would leave food or like bread or some tobacco to kind of keep them friendly. And I remember when I was little and going to my aunt's house, and her husband worked the night shift, and we would sit around the table and have dinner, and she would be cooking his lunch and putting it in there, and he would always say, "Make sure and put that extra sandwich in there. I got to make sure my knockers are fed."
So
So
he used to actually
he actually believed in them and would leave them a
he
sandwich.
used to actually get his wife to pack him an extra sandwich so he could appease
Yeah.
the mine gremlins. As far as I know, nobody actually saw these gremlins. It was just kind of an understood thing. Do you remember the old World War II era Bugs Bunny cartoon with the gremlin that's slowly disassembling the plane? And Bugs Bunny keeps trying to
Some of the
stop him.
details I found, that the way that they described them, you would think of a gnome maybe, or a
Right,
smurf, because they said they had the little gray whiskers and they were little
right.
tiny people, and they were
So they
dressed,
have been seen
in mining clothing,
in
like,
mining clothing.
yeah, little miniature mining clothing.
See, I read some of the history about this, and it was talking about that a lot of the idea of mine gremlins or these knockers in the mines, either helping or harming miners, originated in like Danish countries, like these miners. I'm not sure what they mined over there. Maybe gold. Yes,
Yeah.
I'm assuming because they all came to America, and they say that's when these stories came with them. But now, like I
And
said,
then
we already had the stories of these little spirits that you had to appease, or these little creatures, from the Cherokees. Maybe they're all part of the same
right,
thing.
you're disrupting the lands.
Right. Maybe it's some kind of cryptid creature that actually inhabits the inside of the earth. there's all kinds of theories, hollow earth theories, things of that nature. I'm not going to go into all that. That's a gigantic rabbit hole, literally, literally. So let's keep it moving with the cryptids here. What else we got?
have the Iron Jaw. Is a mining town spoke of a creature that lurked in collapsed shafts.
In collapsed shafts.
Said he had a steel trap jaw and he dragged chains behind him. And he was blamed for mine cave-ins and disappearance of lone miners.
So a steel trap jaw. This sounds like the He-Man guy, Steel Jaw or Trap Jaw. Is that his name? I don't remember. Or the guy from the James Bond movie Jaws.
I guess.
Yeah, the evil villain Jaws. So he has an iron jaw and he drags chains behind him.
Like a cage, like mouth, I guess.
And this is like just I'm guessing this is more like a phantom or a ghost, a haint, if you will.
Yeah.
Right. And hey, we were talking earlier about mimicry with the Wendigos, you know.
Right.
I mean, this could just be mimicry.
Then there's also the coal holler screecher with he had like long limbs and glowing white eyes. He was a humanoid type.
So kind of like a Mothman, but an Owlman type of thing.
Says he dwells in abandoned mines and like slag heaps, and he lets out long, high-pitched wails just before vanishing.
The coal, what was that one called? The coal
holler screecher.
Coal holler screecher. Man, I'm telling you, I've learned about so many cryptids the last few days that we've been researching these. This is just incredible. The number of strange creatures that inhabit Appalachia. So my big contribution to this night is the Dogman. I'm kind of tying all this together because I think when you look at a lot of cryptids that have these canine features, it seems they all kind of fall under the umbrella of a werewolf.
Yeah, like Dogman.
Right. Yeah, there's all these that it's like, oh, it had the body of a man, but it was all hairy and the head of a dog. So that makes me think werewolf. But there's all these different names for this same type of creature in all these different places. In fact, there's a pretty famous one right in Kentucky at Land Between the Lakes. It's called the Beast of the Land Between the Lakes. They found campers, a family that was camping at the Land Between the Lakes. A family of 4.
My dad.
Yeah, mom,
son, and a little girl.
It was a son and a daughter. Yeah, mom, dad, son, and daughter. I think the youngest was the daughter. She was 7, and then I think the dad was like in his 40s or something. So they're out there camping at the Land Between the Lakes, and apparently the police found their bodies just completely ripped apart, laying all over the campsite, and they found the little girl up in a tree.
Yeah, they said that they showed up to investigate and they seen the dad there with his personal belongings, the mom there with her personal belongings, and the little boy with his personal belongings. And there was personal belongings for a little girl, but right away they couldn't find her. So they knew that there was a 4th person and they continued to look for her.
Right. They searched the area some more and they found her in a tree. And she had been basically disemboweled.
Yeah.
It was, I mean, so that's like just horrific.
And things were hanging.
I just can't imagine that, man. Walking up on that site.
See, finding the 3 there, you could probably say, well, a human did that, a bear did that, but to find the little girl in a tree.
Well, I mean, not only that, but they didn't have anything, they didn't have any kind of animal that could do that. Like they said, they didn't have a bear population at that time. They had cougars, I think. I think they said they had mountain lions, but even a mountain lion couldn't do that.
Right, as vicious as they were.
Yeah, like this was just horrific. And I guess there's been sightings since that happened, since the story came out. And I think this was the 1980s, maybe. But there's been all kinds of sightings at the Land Between the Lakes of like a hairy dogman creature. And you find it everywhere, all over Appalachia. Even up into Michigan, Ohio,
Wasn't there a story out of North Carolina?
Yeah, there was a woman in North Carolina. She was 19 and she was just out walking around in her yard. And the official police report is that she was attacked by a pack of wild dogs in the area and was ripped apart pretty bad. Now, all the people of the area said, no, there's no vicious pack of wild dogs roaming this area. We've never seen them. So it couldn't have been that. And then once again, not really any kind of bear population probably coyotes. Possibility it was coyotes. But once again, they say that like some of the bite marks and the lacerations were so big it had to have belonged to something big, like a bear or something, or a really big wolf. And so some people attribute that to a dogman attack or werewolf, whatever have you. There's all kinds of dog tales, if I may. Yeah. You hear all these tales involving dogs just in general. Like, I've never seen like a big wild pack of dogs roaming around in our area, but
I've seen them like maybe 4, maybe 5.
I mean, these are the local dogs, like,
Yeah.
you know, running up and down the hollers that belong to people. I'm talking about a vicious pack of wild dogs. They don't belong to anybody. They're just roaming the hills, and they have like a pack leader that's leading them around, and they're just attacking stuff, killing.
Feral.
So there were rumors when I was little of a wild pack of dogs with a really big alpha leader dog. I don't know if they were true or not. I saw some really big dog tracks up on top of that hill in the mud on the old logging road. But I can't say that was anything that it belonged to some big vicious devil dog, but it may have. There's all these reports, and that got me thinking about when you mentioned my friend that had an incident while camping in Knott County. And I didn't want to tell the story. I wanted to get them up. I've reached out, but I've not heard anything back yet. So I'm just going to kind of give a quick, best I can version of the story.
We can always circle back.
Yeah. So they go camping. It's way back up on a hill, an old strip job. And at some point in the night, they hear growling. They eventually start seeing glowing eyes, like yellow, orangish colored glowing eyes, moving around just the outskirts of their campsite, just outside where they could see. Eventually, they caught sight of it as it came into the light of their fire. They could see it was some kind of big, hairy creature. And then they got scared, of course. I mean, who wouldn't? Big, giant, hairy creature starts stepping out of the shadows. You're going to get scared. So they jump up and run away. Obviously, they go to their truck. While this thing runs toward their coolers and starts ripping apart their coolers and like getting the stuff they had in their coolers. They had like hot dogs and stuff to roast on the campfire. It starts ripping into their coolers. So they get in the truck and they look at the campsite, which is right in front of them. They turn the lights on. They can see these shadowy forms of these hairy creatures running down the other side of the hill, and they see their coolers.
So there's more than one.
Yeah, their coolers are scattered all around the fire pit. So they're trying to keep an eye on them. One of my friends has a gun. It's a rifle. He gets it out of the back. He loads it, gets it ready. Next thing they know, at the back of their truck, something is like shaking and punching and hitting their truck. So rather than trying to shoot one of these things, they're scared to the point they just want to get out of there. So he throws the gun back into the back of the truck, starts it up, and they peel out of there. Now, one of my friends, the one that drove the truck that had the gun, he said, yeah, pretty sure we were attacked by Bigfoot.
And this happened in Knott County?
Yeah, this was in Knott County. Okay.
Do you know where at?
I do know where at, but I don't want to.
You just give the city of where it was at.
It was in the general area. Okay, let's say if you're going on Highway 80, it was somewhere between the Perry County line and where the new Thacker and Grigsby office is. That's a pretty good stretch, I know, but it's in that area is where they went camping.
So Airville area.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, down through that area. I don't want to give a particular spot.
Montgomery Creek area.
Well, not quite that far out. They were closer to that end of the county. You know, they were closer to Perry County, I guess. So I've got this friend who he's the one who has told me this entire story. Okay, and he says it's Bigfoot. I'm pretty sure we were attacked by Bigfoot, several Bigfoot. Okay, I go and talk to the other friend. The other friend is not there when I was told by the first friend. I go and talk to the other friend later in the day, and I'm like, hey, so and so told me this story, and he went kind of pale. And he was like, man, I don't know if I want to talk about it. And I was like, come on, man. Well, you can tell me. So after some coaxing, he finally told me the story. And it was pretty much word for word close to what the other friend had said. They didn't get a good look at first. You know, they came into the light of the fire, but they didn't get a real good look. They just thought it was a big, hairy beast of some sort. And they ran. And I said, well, he says that he thought it was Bigfoot that attacked you. Did you really get attacked by Bigfoot? He said, "No, man." He said, "When we were running away and I heard them attacking the coolers, I looked back." He said, "No, man, those were werewolves. They had the heads of dogs, the heads of wolves." He said, "I looked right at one as we were running away."
And some would say, "Oh, that was probably coyote," but our coyote here is so
No.
tiny.
Yeah, yeah,
Like, they're
yeah.
so
He said
tiny.
these were big. He said they had to have been 7 foot tall at least. They were huge, and said they were moved kind of like a man. And they were really furry, and they had the heads of wolves.
They
That's
didn't
what
go
one
back
friend.
to try to retrieve their coolers or anything.
No, they got out there. Here's the funny thing: is this all happened at school? You know, they them telling me the story. At the end of the day, we walk out to my friend's truck, and he's like, "Yeah, right there. I didn't even put the gun back away. It's still laying in the back seat." And there was like bullets like laying all over the back seat, and the rifle laying there. Yeah, so it's very strange that my friends told me this story, and one of them at least claims it was werewolves. And then I start reading about all these dog cryptids, dog like canid, I guess you would call them canid cryptids, almost human like bodies, but the heads of dog. Pretty scary stuff.
I definitely don't want to go camping anymore.
I'll protect you, sweetheart. So I think we have reached the end of our time. It's been lovely being back on with you all and telling the stories of some of the strange creatures and crazy cryptids that dwell within Appalachia and other places. These stories are everywhere. Like I said, in Appalachia, man, it's easy to believe them. Some of those deep, dark corners of the hollows, some people have never even been there. Could be werewolves, could be Bigfoot. You might even find the Loch Ness Monster in some of our lakes. You never know. From us to you, thanks for listening. I am Hillbilly Phantom.
I'm Appalachian Shade.
Come and join us on our next episode. We'll be back on Wednesday. Thank you all for listening. We love you, and we'll see you next time. Watch out for them boogers.